Photography can be frustrating. It can be annoying. It can be, downright, difficult to do. And if we're creating problems ourselves, it's even worse. And I've dealt with this for a number of years when I'm teaching, when I'm mentoring different students. And it was finally time for me to take a dose of my own medicine. So let's get into how you can solve your own problems and hopefully be a little less frustrated and hopefully get better pictures out of it. So who am I? My name is Mike Patterson. I've been a full-time photographer for over 38 years, located here in southern Alberta, Canada. I have a photo studio as well as I have a photo lab. I also do some framing, and so I do a little bit of everything. But it was finally time for me to take a dose of my own medicine. And what happened that brought this about? Supplies for printing, for framing and everything had just gotten ridiculously expensive. I brought in a high-speed lab earlier this year, and I've started printing more and more. But a lot of the suppliers that I deal with are having issues getting the products that I need. Frames, a huge one. So I've actually started stocking up on frames. In stocking up, I found that if I bought them in larger quantities, it cut down my shipping costs a lot. So I've been bringing in more frames. As I've been bringing in more frames, my studio has been turned into a frame slash everything storage. Let's be honest. It's not just a frame storage. It stores everything. I have a cutter in there for cutting foam board. I store my foam board in there. I have everything in there. And my studio spot has gotten less and less and less. So just the other day, after teaching this for so many years to different students, different people that I've been mentoring, I finally took a dose of my own medicine and I decided that I'm shutting my studio down, at least temporarily, until the new year. Now, we're right now in middle of November. And I've decided that I will not book any more in-studio shoots. So I can move all the stuff in there that I need to move in there and be able to do the work that I need to do. Now, this came about because, pretty much I ran out of space in here. And getting a bigger location it doesn't justify it. It goes up and down for stock. So by next year, I may have enough room, or I should have enough room to open up the studio again. And away we go from there. But it got me thinking because I deal with so many photographers that struggle with simple problems, really simple problems. And they could fix these problems if they just did a little bit of, preventative maintenance, adjustments, changes. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not here to sell you any equipment. I'm not going to tell you to go and buy any equipment. I think buying equipment for the sake of buying equipment is a waste. And I've said it in many of my videos. But there's a point in time where we have to sit back and we have to figure out whether it's more effective, more costly, more troublesome, more whatever, to keep doing something one way or to make a change. It may be that it works fine for you. Perfect example. For the last little while, you can see a computer over here, over my shoulder here. I have a computer that runs my incoming emails, it runs my billing, and I do a little bit of website updates on it. That's great. I have another computer right here that I do my editing on. That's all I do is editing and printing on this computer. I have another computer sitting right here that I do all my video work on. Now, you think, 3 computers, why do you need 3 computers? Well, because every computer does something different. Every computer is busy doing something that if I just had one computer, it would slow things down. So, after a little bit of work, after a little bit of figuring things out, I decided that I'm going to do the computer behind me, I'm going to take a few things off of it, and I'm just going to dedicate it to that. Boy, did it speed that computer up so much faster. It does so much more, so much less lag time. The computer that I'm printing from, I decided I'm going to continue printing from. I'm going to continue to do my editing and stuff on it, but I'm also going to stop doing a lot of my advertising stuff and other stuff that I do during the day, and I'm going to start doing it on this computer. So now I'm using the same equipment, same gear and everything, but I'm getting more work done. And that comes with photographers too. And here's the deal. Over the past couple of years, I've had the privilege of mentoring, teaching, talking to a number of photographers that, they were struggling in different areas. One photographer who's a really good photographer, they do amazing weddings, they do amazing family pictures and everything. They're not local. I've been teaching them, helping them, mentoring them for many years. And they were getting frustrated, really frustrated. And finally, after talking to them about why they were getting frustrated, I figured a few things out. And what I told them to do goes totally against what I would tell most people to do. I told this person to go out and take several $1,000s and buy new equipment. Not cameras per se, not lenses per se, but all the other stuff that they were struggling with. They were having trouble with their camera bag. Everything fit in there, but it wasn't really comfortable. I said, just go and buy a new camera bag. Just go and buy the new camera bag. They were struggling. They like to use certain filters. They were struggling with the filters. I says, you know what? It's time that you change your filter system. Get rid of the screw-on filters because you change them so often during a wedding, and get magnetic filters or get Lee filters or get Koken filters. Get something that just slides in that you can change quicker. They had a flash attachment, an adapter to go on their flash. They were struggling with that. It wasn't fitting properly. It had worn down. I said, just go buy a new one. This person was shocked because they know how much I hate spending money on stuff that you don't need. But they took my advice and they went out and they bought a bunch of stuff that they absolutely needed. Next time they went out shooting, boy, were things a lot easier for them. A little while ago, I was talking to somebody actually locally here who's a really good nature and wildlife photographer. And they were talking about the troubles they were having with the filters that they use on their lenses. Again, somebody who likes to use filters. And what had happened was the one filter that they used quite a bit, which is a neutral density filter. It's a screw-on neutral density filter. They must have cross-threaded it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and they were having trouble getting any filters onto that lens. And they were struggling. And when it's cold, they were getting frustrated, and they were getting angry, and they didn't want to go out and take pictures, and they. So I says, why don't you just go and spend the money and buy a new filter system? They said, do you know how much a new filter system is? I says, yeah, and I know I wouldn't recommend it unless it was actually going to help you in some way, somehow, for some reason. So after thinking about it for a while, they finally went to a local camera shop. They tried a couple filters and they were blown away by how good they worked. They were just shocked how easy it was to change filters all of a sudden. So they dropped a good amount of money. We're not talking $50 or $100. We're talking several $100s, and changed all their filters over to this new filter system. But boy, do they enjoy taking pictures again. Likewise, and this is sort of one that, it woke me up to all this. Not too long ago, I have a local photographer I do a lot of printing for. They were falling way behind in getting their orders together. I mean, way behind. And I got talking to them and I says, what's up? Why all this rush all of a sudden? Why? And this is, it's just come down to the point that our computer just can't keep up. So I said, what computer do you have? So they told me what computer they had. I says, what do you have running on your computer? So they told me. I says, you got that computer just overloaded. I said, you need to get another computer for either doing all of that stuff, or you need to get a better computer for doing your editing and not do all that other stuff on the new computer. So that's what they did. They went out, they spent, again, a lot of money and got this new, super fast, top of the line, every bell and whistle that they needed computer, and they started doing their editing on this computer. But boy, they are just blown away by how quick they can do stuff. They says they'll be in Photoshop, they'll be doing an adjustment to a picture, they'll be cloning this, cropping this, doing this, and they says it's done. On the old computer, it was fast, but it would slow down and slow down and slow down. This one's just done. So they now set up on their desk 2 computers. They have the computer over here. Well, I don't know if it's over there, that does their editing, that does the work that they need to do to make money. And they have the computer set up over here so they can do the other stuff like emails, like social media, just all the stuff that they don't have to get out at a certain rate or a certain speed is on the slower computer. Everything that they're doing is on the faster computer. Now, did they spend some good money? They spent some big money on that. But like I said, for what it's made me, it's worth it. I said, of course it is, because it's making you more efficient. So if you're a photographer, if you're struggling with stuff, I'm not saying go out and buy a new camera. I'm not saying go out and buy a new lens. I'm not saying go out and waste money. But look at the stuff that you're struggling with. If you're struggling with a tripod, if you're having trouble getting the tripod to lock and unlock, if you're having trouble with whatever, the quick release, anything like that, either take it in and get it completely rebuilt, fixed or whatever, or just scrap it, sell it, and just buy a new one that works. It's going to be useful to you.
Again, I mentioned this in the previous video about a lady that I knew that had trouble with the tripod. She had one that you had to twist so that you can loosen the legs or tighten the legs. I told her to buy a quick release, and she went, When she finally did it, she was blown away by how good it worked. So if you're having any trouble, well, even if you're not a photographer, if you're in business or whatever, if you're having trouble, take a day, take a night, take whatever, sit down, see what you can do to make yourself more effective, more efficient. Just change things up. Maybe it'll involve buying something. Maybe it'll involve changing something, like here at my office, changing from having a studio to shutting it down for a month so that I can get the stock in there and still stay efficient and still get the work done that I need to do. So until next time, get out there, take some amazing pictures, and we'll talk to you soon, and hopefully you'll be more organized. Bye-bye now, and have a great day.